Hi, welcome back to another Agents of Mayhem stream. I'm Josh Stinson, the video editor and stream host here, and we are going to be talking about another playable agent in our game. This time, we're going to be talking about Rama. And before we get a little bit further into that, today we've got...
Mike Jungbluth, lead animator.
James Kotzian, the systems designer.
Jeff Bielawski, writer.
And then over Skype we have...
Oh, Eliza Jane Schneider, that was my part.
Nailed it.
Rama, I am Rama.
Hello, Eliza. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Rama today. If you haven't seen our streams before, they usually go like this. We usually show some pre-production stuff for whatever agent we're talking about, concept art, maybe some early 3D renders. Take a look at like their intro cutscene, a small clip of it. Then we'll interview the voice actress for Rama. And then we'll jump into the actual game and play with Rama for a bit and see how she works. And then for people who stick around all the way to the end, we got some bugs. Some Rama bugs, some bugs where Rama just happened to be present and some kind of horror was happening to an NPC or something. There's a lot of different...
Oh, is it the one that I sent you? I sent you a good one.
Oh.
The zombie ped.
No. Yes.
Spoilers.
Yes.
Spoilers.
There's a zombie ped.
Man.
There's a good one. There's a real good one.
You won't guess what's happening until you see it anyways. It's hard to spoil.
Yeah.
But yeah. And of course, we also have our community developer, Mike Watson, monitoring the chat. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Thanks for Skyping me via Skype for Business, Mike. Skype for Business worked. I love Skype for Business. But yeah, let's just jump straight into some early pre-production stuff here, or early production stuff with Rama. So last week we showed some Red Card, and he had some really big changes to him with his design, although Red Card made it like all the way into the game with his previous design. And Rama had some earlier stuff. Her early designs never made it into the game, did it?
There was like one that was like kind of, it wasn't as far along as what the Red Card one had been, but it was kind of like a halfway to finished, and we got that in game. So there was actually like one of the early demos we had. The only models that we had were we had like a really early Hollywood and a Fortune and a Rama,
right.
And so you could switch between Fortune and Hollywood, and then Rama was the enemy, just so that we had a different enemy character to look at. But yeah, and none of them look like these concept art at all. This is
That's really
those ones were way old. So yeah, it's actually that one there kind of on the left was sort of the original that we had in there for a while, and then we were like, well, there's stuff we like about it, but let's do some more explorations, and started playing with different types of hoods and different types of wraps around her neck and how much hair can you see, and sort of all of that different stuff started to happen.
There were like a ton of different variations of her earlier designs. They're all pretty neat looking too. Even more. I forgot there were these ones too.
Yeah, and these ones we really liked. We really liked the shape of the hood and sort of how it sort of opened up into the sort of the whole top. That seemed really interesting as opposed to this sort of very specific hood.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave us some interesting silhouettes that we could start to play with to kind of make her stand out.
But it's so hard to keep my hood up when I'm flying through the air.
Cuts off your peripherals a bit too. But it looks awesome.
I think this was actually the very first piece of Rama concept art.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I remember this.
Yeah,
Man.
that one's way back machine.
Yeah, there's I believe there's a couple other agents have concept art from this long ago that all have kind of the flatter color style to them. And I always thought that was really interesting anytime I stumbled upon one of those, because it's so different from what it looks now.
Yeah.
A question for you guys. Some of this concept art that has this style, was this because I know sometimes concept art just looks radically different than like what the art direction for the game actually is sometimes. Was this an actual like style anybody was experimenting with like what the game would look like?
I mean, I think it was one of those early on. It was playing with that more simplified, cartoony aesthetic was something that was out there. But this was kind of, I think, something that was just let's start to experiment with it. I don't think it was necessarily this is where we see the style going, but just let's get some simple shapes and colors down and start to try and realize some things.
Just early on enough that you're just seeing what it looks like. We do it this way. Why not? We have another one of our charts here. This is is this the model that was there?
This was that model that was
left?
and that it was in the game there. So it's when she had more of kind of the armory chest piece going on, and
this is kind of a more updated one from earlier, but I believe we actually have some early renders of her too when she had a different face. Was this? No, the model from before, she already had like her close to final face there, didn't she?
Yeah, so that might have been after, and so then this was an earlier one.
Right.
Of there was a lot of times where since this was a new style and that was being developed for the artists, they would just start to do different tests, and it was okay. Let's just take a character and go with it, and just try and learn like how do you actually sculpt these things? How does a cheekbone look on an Agent Mayhem character versus another character, a more realistic character, or how do we do jawbones and things like that? So a lot of these were just kind of playing with what is. Like learning what the shape language is and sort of how do you actually sculpt a character to be in style and match the tone. So you kind of have these different variations of it going on before we kind of, nailed down exactly what were the right elements.
Yeah. I believe there's, this is another evolution of her face right here.
Yeah.
Getting a little closer with the actual forehead design and stuff.
Yep.
You can tell that I had some work done.
But this is interesting here, right? Because it was a lot more sort of sci-fi tech outfit to her. And, that varies quite a bit from where we ended up going with her and trying to, I think, bring back a lot more of kind of a fabric feel and trying to make it not feel like she's... Because when you get that armor, it starts to be like, oh, is this character able to take more damage? And what are we trying to communicate within the personality and sort of what she would be leveraging? And it just didn't seem appropriate to her, to her character.
And... we're at the point where there's a million different designs or possibilities for her bow. Yeah. And it seems that like all of these were before there was a decision to make it like an energy bow. Mm-hmm. Did she ever? Was there any point where she just had like a plain ass like bow and arrow?
I mean, that was one of the things that you talk about, and we're like, hey, does that work? And I think it was one of those where as we started to put less tech on her, it was what would be the thing that Mayhem would give her that she would be like, yes, I want to use that thing because it's just better than what I have. And so giving her that more of that energy bow seems like she's pretty pragmatic. So if I don't have to reload with an arrow every time, like that fits within her personality of I'm just looking to take down Legion as quickly as possible. It's not a resource that I have to manage anymore.
Right.
It just kind of made sense with her.
Fits with more of the futuristic theme of our game too.
Some early concept art where it appears people did make the decision like, oh yeah, this is going to be an energy bow now. There's no actual string there, which probably my favorite thing about Rama, just because it also makes a really fucking cool sound when you pull back on it.
Yeah,
it does.
So I remember this being in the game. I'm sure you can talk about this. Were you here early enough?
I was here as an intern when this was in.
Okay. Yeah.
And I can't speak a whole lot about why it changed. This used to be like a healing bubble that Rama would put down as her special ability. But we found out eventually that healing in our game as a single player game just wasn't that interesting. It was like useful, but it just wasn't wasn't really doing it for our kind of game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, mobility is such a big thing, right?
That's true, yeah.
If you're saying, hey, I put this thing down, and sure, you can swap between your characters, but you're stuck in place,
Yeah.
it kind of removes a lot of the fun of, like, you should always be jumping and dashing and swapping.
Yeah,
and
our combat is
playing
very
with it.
fast-paced,
Yeah.
and having a healing bubble definitely went against that. So
Yeah.
I think it was a good decision to scrap that.
And yeah, this is like her final bow with the design used in game right now. And
There
yeah,
she
this is
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Yeah, this is absolutely like the final design.
Yeah, yep, that's the design. So you can see, like, you know, getting all that chest armor is gone. Really, the focus is that the tunic that she has on, and getting a lot of that cloth and color into her design became really important. Like, her pants aren't, you know, she doesn't have like the armory knee pads that a lot of the other characters have. Short of the device that she has on her hip that she uses for her Mayhem ability, and the gloves, like, she just doesn't have tech stuff on her. So bringing in the bow as more of a sci-fi element helps to, you know, make her feel like she still exists properly within this world without having to do it all on her armor.
Right. And yeah, this is that model we saw earlier when she still had the more techie looking armor on. And then
Versus,
her
yeah.
final model.
And you can see where we like fell in love with that really open from the hood opening up into the blouse is like this whole thing.
Yeah.
Really just gave a lot of fun
Yeah,
shapes.
you can't see it in this rendered, but like in game, like her the whole thing she's wearing is a little shiny. There's like little bits of like leaving like gold in it or something like that. It's really
it pops
nice.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh right. So this is something you were asking me about. So what is this video?
Okay, so this one was cool. This was something that Evan, our our lead tech anim person, did, that where it was, you know, we have on the far left this sort of you know, non-detailed character is the base mesh that we use to define what the rig is going to be and the proportions are. That middle one was that early on Rama model that we were using as an enemy, and then that's the final one there. So it was kind of cool. And then this is her arc base animation, which this was just one of our mocap actresses is like amazing at doing this yoga stuff. It was just like
really difficult.
Yeah, we were just like, can you do it? She just, and it's a long animation. I think our
Yeah, it
animation
goes on for a while.
programmers kind of hate us that it's this long, because they're like, why do we need an animation that's this long? But it's really cool kind of seeing that progression of her in progress, like right there side by side, and seeing how they all kind of come together. And I'm really happy with where we ended up with her, because there's a lot of character and personality, and you know, it speaks to a lot of her. In there, in the way that middle one, which is a great model, it looks cool, but just doesn't have all that extra level of personality of who she is in it.
Yeah, and then we have, I believe, now we're on to the some of the art done for her for our 2D intro cinematic for Rama that Powerhouse made for us.
One of the earlier ones too.
Yeah, because actually, I have a little clip we'll play from the intro in just a second, but the design for Rama in the intro is actually different from what you see her in game too, just because it was that actually, you would probably know, she does look different in the intro, but is that just because that is her pre-joining?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what you'll see that a lot actually in the various interests for the different agents, that they look a little different, or their outfit is either completely different or slightly different, just because there was when you get to Mayhem, you tended to be given a few new items and sort of your upgrades just to kind of bring you into the agency.
Right. So, we'll actually, real quick here, play a short clip from her intro, which, I remember watching this intro, whoa, that's the game, watch out. I remember like seeing this intro when I first started working here.
So I stole their medical technology, but there was just too little of it, and I had a nation to heal.
Yeah, that was like one of the first ones I saw here. And I thought it was like, oh man, like that got me excited because it was like I hadn't seen any other 2D intros yet. I think that were finished.
Yeah.
I think so. Like that was really exciting to see.
And you can see it's just a lot more of how she looked there. It was more stuff that she was able to obtain without needing an agency like Mayhem, and it has the actual bow with arrows to it.
Yeah.
So kind of gives you that whole feel of, when she joined up, she got given more high-tech
She upgraded
resources. Yep.
Yeah, and I guess we're moving on to the key art here. But Jeff, can you kind of give us kind of a brief overview of what Rama is like?
From a personality standpoint?
Yeah, there's like what kind of person
she's
is she?
At times a little bit more of one of our serious characters, though she has a really good humor to her that kind of comes through in odd situations. Her whole thing is she was a doctor in Mumbai, and then Legion came in and spread a dark matter plague that was killing off the people. And she's just doing what she can, basically, to try to heal as many people as possible. But the only cure she's able to find comes from Legion, so she only finds it in small amounts. And that's kind of what you get in that intro she has going on there. And when Persephone came to recruit her, it's kind of like, hey, I'll help you find more of this stuff. I'll help you find out how to stop this plague. And she joined up. But she doesn't quite trust Persephone completely.
Yeah. She's very independent.
She is very independent and very opinionated, but like I said, she also has kind of a fun-loving nature to her, in more of a dry sense of humor at times, and also has probably one of our most interesting musical choices. That is her favorite.
Right. Yeah, I remember when I was going through the PSAs from the loading screens and trying to pick one. There were a lot that came up about the type of music she likes.
Yep.
Yes, and I think I saw earlier that Mike Watson may have posted it on the Twitch stream, but she has a love of crunk.
Yeah.
Crunk is the only music.
It really is for her.
So good.
Yeah, that's some of the pre-production stuff for Rama, ending on a pretty cool screenshot for her too. And so I think we should move on and ask Eliza here a little bit about her work on Rama, and also some interesting things I've heard about her on the side.
What are you talking about? What did you hear? Oh my god.
It's all good. Trust me. But I heard, I've heard a lot of Rama's voice acting while playing the game, recording stuff and all that. And I was having a hard time.
It had nothing to do with it.
I was having a hard time putting, to my mind, what does the voice actors for this character look like? And that's when I found out, while talking to some of the audio guys, that you're a dialect consultant.
I'm a dialectologist, actually. I thought I was a dialectician for the longest time. I was working with Robert Easton, who's the Henry Higgins of Hollywood, and he was like the OG dialect coach. He coached like Anthony Hopkins and Robin Williams and like Charlton Heston and Anne Margaret. And he always called himself a dialectician, so I figured that was accurate. And then I was on one of my wacky forays into the English-speaking world, which incidentally, I am headed to Singapore in August, which marks my final country in the world where English is the first language that I have yet to record dialects in.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Singlish. Very excited about that. My inner geek is just jumping for joy. Woohoo! So I went to what was it? Queen's. It was University College in London. I was looking for John Wells, who developed the concept of the lexical set, if you're into that kind of a thing. And he published this 3-volume survey on British dialects. I'll stop geeking out in just a second.
Keep going.
Because I had a callus on my vocal cords from learning all the South Park voices, and so my doctor had recommended during this hiatus that I take a complete vocal break. So I was running around like a Trappist monk with like this pad of paper, and I went into his office during his office hours, and I wrote down, "I'm a dialectician," and then he's like, "Well, you're not a dialectician. You study dialectics." So I realized, you're a dialectologist. That's what I am.
Oh my god. How how do you get into something like that? Like,
just extreme focus. If you can see my room, I have hundreds of hard drives full of interviews with people from all over the world, and I like to excavate in people's hometowns, because as soon as you set foot somewhere else, you start to change the way you speak. So, and initially when I first became an actress, I was looking for dialect material, source material, and the only thing available way back in my day was his cassette tapes by Dr. David Allen Stern. He was imitating people, questionably, from all over the place. And so there was no source material, and of course this is pre-internet, so I set out to record all of the dialects of spoken English in the English-speaking world, and I figured it'd take me about a month, and 25 years later, I'm almost done.
Wow.
wow.
And I have a thing called the dialect database that I'm going to launch in September, so I'll keep you all posted, and I'm just uploading all these samples, and then I have this. Dialectmasterclass.com is how you can take my class. It's online. We were talking about having sex with sheep this morning because we were speaking in Irish accents.
Of course.
Right, as you do.
They go hand in hand.
It's improv. It's a lot of fun. It's really fun. It's like traveling around the world while you're sitting in your boxer shorts in your bedroom.
There was one question that, if I could just jump in real quick and I'll make sure we get it, that one of our viewers, Matrix Finjian, was asking is what part of India is the dialect you were doing for Rama come from?
Mumbai.
Nice.
See, totally accurate to where she's from in the game.
No, it's Hindi based as opposed to Punjabi. I mean, one of the biggest distinctions is, Punjabi is that up and down kind of, that kind of caricature sound that you hear. Where I am sporting such a woody right now. That from number 5 is the last Short Circuit. Remember that guy?
That movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
But then Hindi is more that elaborate, that sort of elegant sound that, went directly to England and started to take on this flowy quality. And, it's interesting because they want it for everything now. They want Pakistan. They call it Pakistani London, and they don't know what they're asking for. But they want is that kind of, sexy, refined. It used to be they wanted Russians and, their imagination of what a Russian would sound like. In truth, most of the gorgeous Russian models that I coach have this throat delivery, and it's so strange because they are this beautiful blonde and they have beautiful boobies and beautiful long hair, and then they talk, they open their mouth, and because throat resonance makes people, it's an anomaly. I have to coach him out of that. But Robert Easton used to really enjoy that particular demographic of his clientele.
I can't imagine.
I wonder why.
Not that gig for a 78-year-old dude to have a bunch of, young Russian models showing up at your door every day.
Not a bad deal.
So, were you doing the dialect stuff before voice acting, or was it the other way around?
Oh, I suppose before. My father was a drama teacher and a math teacher, still is, and a playwright, so I come by it quite naturally. And, to me, it's all very integrated. There's no difference between sounds and music and dialects and languages. It's all kind of the same. So I've sort of been accumulating sounds my whole life and imitating so, yeah, I mean, I started voice acting in 1997 with Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo.
Wait, what? Who'd you voice in Johnny Bravo?
I remember Johnny Bravo.
Penny, she's this, I think I have her on this picture over here. Yeah, she's, here, let me see. I don't know if my microphone is not. I'll show you. So name's Penny. Penny is, I think it was Penny. That's her name. Can you see? Can you see?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you see
wow.
The driver with the little pink hat?
Yeah.
That was her.
Cool.
And while we're taking a studio tour, I'll just show you my Viper as I segue into how dialects and music are one and the same. So this is my Viper, and it is a 7-string fretted violin.
What?
Whoa.
That's awesome.
that straps to my body, and I can sing and play at the same time. And it's got bass strings, cello strings, and viola strings. Ready?
That's awesome.
Oh my god. I didn't even know such a thing existed, to be
Yeah.
honest.
It's quite beautiful. So this is my new lover, and take very good care of her. I've sort of parlayed this fascination with sound into a series of solo plays having to do with voice, and how I found in my research that you can't really separate the sound of a voice from the voice of a person. You can't just like break down the sounds and teach somebody the sounds. They kind of have to take on the person, channel the person, if you will, and all of their proclivities, like their penchant for crunk music, for example, and their point of view. And so I have a new one-woman show that I just did my first stage reading, and I incorporated this little puppy into it. I've sort of tried to score and loop on Ableton Live with my little looping pedal. It's a liquid foot, and so you can program it to kind of mess around a little bit.
Oh, man.
And then anyway, so it's a dialogue between a busker, which I supported myself both as a voice actor and a busker as I traveled around collecting esoteric phonemes. So it's a dialogue between that person and the people who live on the street. So it's homeless people from all over the world and what they have to say. Interestingly, being homeless and living under a bridge in San Diego is very similar to being homeless and living under a bridge in Lagos, Nigeria.
I would imagine.
Huh.
A similar experience. But yeah, that's what I'm up to these days.
It seems like a lot you're up to.
Seem like
And I have a 5-year-old just turned 6. I was telling you guys I was whitewater rafting last week, and my brother baked a birthday cake in a Dutch oven at the campsite for my kid.
Wow.
Dutch oven is so good.
The coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I was
My
like
brother's so cool.
cobblers. I was like peach cobblers in those.
Man.
So, I was going to tell you about, so the Suzuki method of ear training is kind of what I use now. It's actually the reason I'm going to Singapore. I'm presenting for the Voice and Speech Teachers Association, a bunch of stuffy academics. So I have to explain to them what I do with my voice match looping method, because for voice actors, as opposed to any other kind of acting where you have, 10 minutes to a few weeks to prepare, voice actors, they're just like, do German, do Russian, do that. And you really have to pull it out of your ass or whatever orifice you choose and store it in. And so I've been teaching a bunch of other voice actors how to get this, arsenal of dialect reference in their heads, like, commercial jingles from the 70s, stuck in there so you can't get it out and you can always reference it. And then when people ask you, do you do German? You don't sit there going, what would you like me to say in German? Instead, you have something somebody actually said to you that you're perfectly confident about because they are from Germany and said this to you. For example, the woman who said to me, Hitler wasn't a bad man. He was just surrounded by bad people. Not even kidding.
Jeez.
You can't write this stuff.
Josh doesn't even know what to say.
I don't know what to say, and I just choked too, so that's not a great combination. Man, so...
He was a bad man, though.
Yeah.
I think we can agree there.
Yeah. Okay, so what specifically got you interested in dialects and all that? When did that happen?
Well, like I said, I don't think it's really any different from a fascination with sound, and I started taking Suzuki violin lessons when I was 7, and so that's a method of ear training where they immerse the child in the music. You just listen to it, and you don't have to read the notes or whatever, and you just play it back.
Okay.
So I've sort of been doing it inadvertently forever, and I guess the big leap happened when, I've always been fascinated with the way people sound. I can't remember not being. But I think in terms of crossing over and becoming someone who actually mimics other people, it was that first trip across the country when I was interviewing people, and just the most magical things that they would say. And my friend Jessica and I took that first trip in the ambulance across America, and we would leave a place and I would just be repeating all the things that the person said, like, you know, is that an ambulance you're driving? I think that's just wonderful. A rash all over my body. And, you know, this old lady would proceed to tell me about all of her physical ailments. And, you know, people are so awesome and so funny. And, you know, I'd have a kid telling me about, she had a plantation Southern dialect, which is non-rhotic and R-dropping and fairly rare these days. And people think that dialects have to do with political boundaries, but they don't. It's not like you have an Alabama accent or a Montana accent. You have like a piney woods dialect, or you have a tidewater dialect, or a mountain Southern dialect. You know, it's all contingent upon the immigration patterns of the Scots and the Irish and the English, and how rich you were, and how many black people you had in your class, and who raised you, and that kind of stuff. I could go on about this forever.
I kind of want. Can we just do like a spin-off stream where it's just
Oh my God, maybe.
Tell us about your life.
dialect stuff?
I mean,
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only half an hour into the stream, so.
Do you find?
I had a point though. Something about. Oh yeah. So when we were in the ambulance and imitating people, and yeah, that's when it all. Oh, and I was going to tell you about Mountain Southern, which is rhotic. So I interviewed a guy in Gulfport, Mississippi. And it's, you know, it's not up in the mountains, but it's a rhotic dialect, and he was talking about going on a date with a girl at a football game, and then she made him watch Gone with the Wind, a 4-hour-long movie. 2 hours into it, I put my arm around her. And then he talked about it. It was like his first kiss, and he said, she called me a pervert. Compromising my Christianity. She didn't think I was that type of guy. She just got these crazy ideas in her head. I was trying to buy my way into her life, I guess. It's completely contrary, because I didn't want to buy anything. And so he then talked about speaking in tongues. Like, he happened to be a guy that also spoke in tongues on the weekends. But he's just this normal kid, you know what I mean? So I started to put together this theatrical piece where I would introduce people who, you know, for me, for example, I was raised to fear and loathe Republicans and rednecks, you know, that was, but then I fell madly in love with all of them on the road. And so I would introduce a man first as the mayor of a town, and then I would divulge that he happened to be a polygamist, you know.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Find out, and I think you will find out that being part of a big family is far, far superior.
I wanted to sign up and be his next wife. The show is hysterical, dude. He was like a David Koresh, Mr. Rogers. Guy had 18 wives.
Oh my God.
Wow. Holy moly.
So many.
I got 40 sons. I know, I got 30 sons. I got 40 married children, and all my children grew up as brothers and sisters. We just have a big house. We go to ours.
You better have a big house. That kind of family. Jeez. That's amazing.
Mike, did you have a question?
Yeah. Okay. So there's this thing where I've always been interested in. So like, as somebody who does not do dialects well, right? You have like these bad accents that different, like, American culture people, like, they will do bad accents. I'm always interested, like, I kind of want to hear like 2 accents at once. Like, that's always been a thing I've been kind of interested in, right? Like, I could do a bad, say, Japanese accent, but like, what would be somebody that maybe has like a Hispanic accent, but then also does a Japanese accent, and like, you kind of hear that blending of the two? Is that like a thing that exists or can be done, or is that just like, you're bastardizing everything, go away?
Oh, no, that's wonderful stuff. People usually don't ask for it or pay for it, but it's the most fun thing that I do, you know, it's really fun. I like Australian Chinese. That's fun. Or one of my favorites is like a rabbi singing, like a Southern rabbi. Shema Yisrael, I don't know.
Yes. Okay, so this has been like a bucket list, like life goal of mine. Like, I want to hear like multiple accents coming once. It just, yeah, that was that was great. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I'm the girl for you.
That's awesome.
She's Australian and Chinese. She's amazing. There's some really interesting similarities, like in the South and in Australia. That's one of the problems I have with my students online is I'll skip all over the place and I'll be like, oh, and this is just like in Australia. And they'll be, stay in one place for a second.
Yeah, I had a. It was in college when I realized I really wanted to start hearing something like that, and I was talking to one of the people I worked with, and she was Romanian, and she was like, I can do this. And then she said something, and it didn't sound any different. And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the difference. She's like, well, that was me doing Ukrainian. And I was like, that's too specific. I couldn't pick it up. But yeah, no, that was awesome.
Mike goes, I'm happy today.
I can quit, stream's over, I'm done. So
Mike's dropping his mic.
Got what you came for.
Yeah.
Goodbye. That's great.
Good. Yeah, Japanese is fun too. I mean, the joke, my husband's half Japanese, and we have this joke because his mom is very blunt. And so our joke is that when a Japanese woman comes to America and learns she can say whatever she wants, she becomes Chinese.
I've heard that before.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's so ugly. That's why she cannot get married.
Oh, we do have a question from one of the guys. Mega Freeman's asking, do you do dialects in other languages or just exclusively in English?
I can do an American accent in any language.
That seems like cheating. Hold on, wait a minute here.
No, I really focus on English. I can speak some other languages. One of my life's goals has always been to like perform in foreign films imperceptibly and pass as a local doing the native language. But I have plenty of time left in my life.
That's true.
Do you ever use your powers of dialect to prank people and make it seem like you're from some faraway land? Because I think I would do that all the time if I could do that.
Only once of note.
Okay.
Because I had this roommate who was the sweetest girl in the world, Tatsumi Chikagami. She's Japanese. And what I loved about my Japanese roommates in college is that they laughed at all my jokes. Probably mostly because they didn't understand a word I was saying. But it was great. It was a captive audience right there in the bed next to me. And she had this really possessive, somewhat evil fundamentalist boyfriend who was constantly calling the room, sort of trying to monitor whether or not she was doing something wayward, like, I don't know, wearing lipstick or something.
Oh,
and so one time I answered the phone in her voice, and I was less than submissive.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Did she ever, and I take it she found out what happened to that?
No, she didn't. He just backed off a little bit.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Worked out.
You're doing good work there then.
Wowee.
We have Emmy Sates-Rogang. I know she's in France. I don't know where in France, but she was wondering about your French accent.
Oh yeah, one of our fans, yeah.
Which French accent? I mean, there's Haiti, and there's Cajun, and there's Acadian there's Montreal, there's all over France, there's the French accents in Senegal and the Congo. I mean, that's one of the things about it. There's so many different permutations. Honestly, you can't really do a bad accent. For every actor that I've coached who's concerned that somebody's going to take issue with the way they're pronouncing something, I say, I can rationalize the voice you're doing right now. I can tell you exactly where that character has emigrated from, what places they lived, and how old they were when they lived there.
They're asking about Parisian.
Parisian specifically. I'm not sure I have any samples from Paris. Let me try to remember. So the way I do this is I memorize something a native speaker said. But what I can do, I don't know, can I share my screen with you guys?
Maybe. Might get
perhaps.
screen inception.
Yeah, we might get screen inception here, but...
Let me just quickly go to my little website, competitiveedgevoicetraining.com. I will find my French sample, just because this is what I always tell my students to do. I tell them to memorize a little sample and then run it in their head before they do it in the studio. Oh. So my French girls were 17 that I interviewed and right off the boat. So Parisian-born, female, 18. Let's hear what she sounds like.
I'm Miriam from Paris. Yes, 11th district. I'm 18. I just graduated from high school.
I'm 18. I just graduated from high school.
I'm here with my best friend.
I'm here with my best friend.
We're here to study acting at UCLA Extension. We wanted to come here and just work and not take official classes.
Not take official classes, and then you can sort of keep going a little bit. So it's one of the things that people don't realize about French is that instead of saying not, like a lot of my students will say not and lot and really open their mouth, and it's not and lot. There's not a lot of Parisians at UCLA, and then you've got that secondary stress.
But some of the French, like real authentic French, doesn't sound anything like what Americans think French sounds like, right? So listen to this guy.
Original for sex, drug, rock and roll. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. These are normal desires that should not be thwarted. If you thwart them, if you repress them, you get cancelled. Shit, I want fame. Look at me, man. Man is what counts. Fame with money. Any jerk can go to the top of some tower with cock rifle and start shooting at people. That shitty fame. I want that good kind. The kind with lots and lots of money. Any snob can win the lottery. It takes skills and brains to get the fame and the money all the time.
So one super geeky thing I was telling one of my students this morning about this is, so he said skills, right? And what most Americans don't realize is that we don't aspirate the P, T, and K after an S. So if you put your hand in front of your mouth and you say cool, you'll feel the air. If you say school, you won't, right? And just like Rama, she would say cool and school, and she wouldn't aspirate either one of them. But when foreign speakers come to America and they try to do an American accent, often what will give them away is that aspiration after an S. So it's true with like it and pit and steep and teep, which isn't a word. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Man, that's all really cool, but unfortunately, we need to move on so we can actually fit some game into.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, I was really enraptured with all of that, so I just let it go longer than normal. That's all really rad, though.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all that.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, my consummate pleasure. I could talk that stuff all day. But yeah, play some games,
Yeah, so again, thank you so much for answering all those questions and talking in depth about this stuff, because I had no idea about any of that. It wasn't
Masterclass.com. And if you go to my website, ElizaJane.com, you can get on my mailing list, and I will hit you up for money to finish my research. It'll be awesome.
Oh, nice. All right, rad.
Cool.
All right, so let's move on to the game now and see some actual Rama in action here.
Let's do it.
Is this your first time seeing the game, Eliza?
No, I can't see your screen.
Oh, I sent you a link in the chat that'll bring up the stream for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just make sure that you mute it so that we're not echoing back and forth between our Skype call.
Oh, yeah, good point.
So is it
DS Volition, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the stream will be on a delay for you, so what you see there will be 10 seconds or so behind, but
I'm going to put it into my browser.
All right, so Rama, an agent I'm super familiar with gameplay wise, just because she was in the game pretty early compared to some of the other agents. But yeah, what in a nutshell, what type of agent is she gameplay wise?
Sure, so she's pretty readable as our bow-wielding archer character. So naturally, she's comfortable being way in the back. She's our longest range character, and just picking off people one by one with her bow. but if things ever get too hectic, she does have some ways with her special ability and her Mayhem ability in which she can tactically do a bit of focus crowd control.
Oh wow, nice.
Nice.
Landed right on that.
Stuck the
Check that out.
Yeah, so people who like to, sit really far back and just be sort of that classic sniper character who's not in people's faces and dealing a lot of damage from afar, they'll probably really like Rama.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I've just found those guys ran away from me. Okay, there they are. I've also really enjoyed Rama just because regardless of the range, when you go with her, I feel like I can deal a lot of damage with her. As long as I'm landing the headshots well.
Yeah, for
fully
sure.
charged headshots.
Yeah, because she can rip off shot after shot or charge up her shot, right?
Yes, that's as one would probably expect with a bow. You can just sort of tap the fire trigger, and release an arrow. It'll do some damage, but the longer you hold it, the more damage it'll do. And and it was actually towards the end of finalizing her that we were looking at feedback, and she used to be a little more durable, but she didn't used to do quite as much damage as she does now. But towards the end, we pushed her into being really a true sniper. So she's pretty squishy, and she can't take a whole lot of hits, but she can just eliminate people with the amount of damage she does, and that seemed to resonate a lot better with players, and we enjoyed that a lot more.
Yeah, it's especially once you get fairly decent with aiming too. We have aim assist in our game, but even still, when you can just line dudes up one after one, really quickly, it's really satisfying because they just fall until you're on there, unless they're a boss or really strong, or if you're on a really high difficulty level. A lot of these dudes, if you're gonna drop them in 2 shots each time.
Yeah. If you like precision, you'll like Rama.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's really fun.
Yeah. I guess we should talk about what her gears what her special moves are like.
Yeah, let's do it. So before I go into this, just in case people haven't seen our other streams, just a brief overview of these kinds of gameplay customization options we have in our game. We have these 12 agents that have these intended play styles, but we have all these different options for customizing their play styles, so you can nudge them in a direction to get a play style that really clicks with you. So there's a variety of ways you can change an agent's play style. You have these swappable gadgets that you'll unlock throughout the game, and you can swap them in and out. And there's 3 different types of these. There's the special gadgets that modify what the special ability does. There's the weapon gadget, which modifies the agent's base weapon, so in this case her bow. And then there's passive gadgets, which are these effects that are just persistently on the agent. And besides that, we have these upgrade points that you can spend on agents, and you can redistribute. If you don't like sort of one direction that you invested in, you can reset and redistribute them in other areas. We've got core upgrades, which are these permanent purchases that you make that upgrade your agent in some pretty drastic ways. And then we also have Legion Tech, which are these modifications that you can slot into your gadgets to customize your agent's gameplay even further. So we really have just this huge breadth of options for customizing the gameplay of these agents that I think people will really like. And some people really, I'm sure, love to delve into this and maximize their agent and fine-tune them to fit exactly what they want.
Yeah. I've personally found when trying to figure out a build or something, I've always been able to figure out pretty quickly a couple that even when you just have a couple of gadgets, already it's oh whoa, this is way better than if I had nothing equipped just from the get-go.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that we created these different options, gameplay options, with synergies in mind, right? So you might have a couple different a weapon gadget that goes really well with a passive gadget, or a core upgrade that goes really well with a certain Legion tech equipped. So it's I think some players will really like to find those synergies that we've sort of planted in there. And yeah, we can just go through her gadgets. So for her special ability, Rama shoots this trap wherever the player is pointing, and this trap will deploy, and within this radius, if any enemy walks in it, they'll be exploded, and any other enemies also within that radius will also be exploded. And the base one just does a lot of damage. And then the other two, there's Panic. It does moderate damage, but it'll also panic enemies so that while they're running away, you can pick them off. There's the Paralysis one, which will immobilize enemies. So that works well if you've got like a shock trooper that's charging you and you want to stop him in his tracks. Because those are particularly scary with Rama too, because Rama doesn't do well with people who are up in her face.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go through it. She's got weapon gadgets. This one, so Rama can charge her bow faster, but her range is reduced. This one, if you don't charge an arrow and you just fire it right away, then an enemy will get damage over time painted on them. And what's cool is you can like sort of stack those up. And we've got this one, which increases critical hit damage. We can go through the passives. She's got this one just heals her squad mates whenever she kills an enemy with a critical hit. This one, she gains haste when her shields are depleted, so if Rama is like sort of on the ropes, she can get haste and then back the heck up, and so she can get that range that she's comfortable with. And this one increases the duration of her damage over time effects.
Yeah.
So some people, as I'm reading these, might already be putting like a couple together. Like there's the one weapon gadget that has inflicts a damage over time on an enemy. So then you can combine that with the passive that increases the duration of those? Yeah, it increases the duration of those, so those are even more impactful. So she has these very interesting builds. She's got the like a damage over time build where it also plays into her Mayhem ability.
I think the one I set up here is more like the sniper build if I look through this.
She's got like a true sniper build. Where it plays really much into getting those critical hits and doing just a ton of damage. So for the players who like to like be patient and line up that perfect shot and just drop people, they'll really like that build. She's got another like kind of Legolas build that I call it, where it's not about like getting that full shot, but more about just like keep shooting arrows. And that goes well with like the weapon gadget where an uncharged arrow puts a dot on them.
Right.
There's another one that says like, I think it's a Legion tech that says uncharged arrows will knock back, or non-crit arrow hits will knock back enemies. So people who don't care as much about precision can sort of get like this Legolas thing going where they're just like firing off a bunch of arrows very quickly. And
rereading what I have here, I remember the other thing I have is this Legion tech right here is like, on top of this being like the true sniper build, it's also like the anti-sniper build. Because I'm just doing double damage to all snipe troopers. So even if I don't headshot them, there's a good chance they'll be dead. Yeah,
those sniper battles are fun.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's a challenge whenever someone's trying to snipe me as Rama. You want to snipe me?
Yeah.
See about that.
I really like with the snipe troopers in this game too, because you can see the laser converging on you, so you know when they're going to shoot you. So it's like, can I line up that shot right in their head before this converges on me? And
Rama's good at avoiding that too, because she has stealth.
Right. We should show that off real quick. Just in case.
So she gained haste there because her shields were depleted. She can stealth, and which is great for then lining up, getting some distance, going back and getting some distance, or buys you some time to get that perfect headshot.
Nice. It's a lot of damage with her headshots right now. Holy crap.
And I don't think we talked about her Mayhem ability. Her Mayhem ability is, or do we just want to show it?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and show it.
Sure.
There's some dudes here.
It's a lot of damage with their headshots right now. Holy crap.
Oh no, I'm unmuted.
Inception! So, what Rama just did is she sort of injects this plague as well as curing the plague. She's pretty good at controlling the plague as well. So she injects the plague into her bow, and she gets sort of this plague arrow shot, and she creates a plague trap wherever she shoots. And it's a persistent trap, and any enemy who walks into that will be inflicted with the plague, and they'll get this severe damage over time effect on them. And once they die from the plague, they'll explode, and other people within that radius will also get infected with the plague. And so if you use it tactically in the right situation, you can just like wipe out an entire battlefield.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And I think there's a certain number of levels that it can do. Like you can have it one guy explode and infect another person, who then explodes, who then infects another person.
Yeah.
But then if they explode, they don't infect other people, because like we realized at a certain point, like it used to be infinite. But then we were getting cases where the entire, because it affects pets too.
Oh no, the whole city was dying?
The entire city was dying from this plague.
Oh, that's
we're like,
great.
no, this isn't what we want
incredible.
to do.
Too strong of a virus.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love seeing that, right? Like when you see the virus starting to spread through the battlefield, it's so cool.
Yeah, also something that happened when I used that Mayhem is I believe it's one of the Legion tech I have equipped actually, but it gives you like a small percentage chance that whatever trap you lay down will actually, 2 traps will get activated. Yeah. So
I think that's an upgrade actually.
Oh right. Actually, yeah, we should probably look at the crystal upgrades here real quick, or the core upgrades.
Yeah. Core upgrades. Yeah, this one just decreases the cooldown for her special ability, and she gets extra special ability damage as well.
Yeah.
So that's super useful. This one gives her 2 plague arrows.
Right.
So if you love that plague arrow, this one gives you 2 whenever you use her Mayhem. And then this one is interesting. Whenever she stealths, she emits a bit of that plague, and any enemy within that sort of small radius you create, they get infected and they'll die.
Yeah.
So and that's a damage over time effect too. So if you think about what we were talking about earlier with the different gadgets that increase the duration, and I think there's a Legion tech that increases, or maybe it's an upgrade that increases the damage of her damage over time stuff. That stuff can be really powerful, so you can sort of be like this plague damage over time master.
I just want to point out that guy did an incredible flop.
The
ragdoll
effects are awesome.
I also want to commend myself for when I was fighting the last of these guys, and I did a double jump and was able to shoot his weak point while falling. That was rad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think people who are like more hardcore gamers will like Rama, because you can almost like sort of challenge yourself to like do these trick shots and stuff, like hit a swarm trooper as they're doing like a flip off a building and stuff like that.
Yeah, like even when this game was much earlier in development, but we were still like just barely beginning to work on like capturing some gameplay for videos, whether at like E3 2 years ago or whatever. Like when I was just trying to rack my brain, go like, what's something really cool I can do? It was always the first one was just like, well, I could fall from really high height, like snipe somebody.
Yeah.
That was like my first move I came up with. Yeah, we should actually get some.
In fact, that's often in the trailers, if I recall.
Yeah.
Rama jumping. And
it just feels really good.
Yeah.
So that's one of her traps. The traps are pretty cool. They have there's some interesting synergies you can do with other agents as well. Like I'm not sure how practical it is, but I've done it a few times where you can, if you have Jewel in your squad, you can throw a trap on the ground and then switch to Jewel and throw her turret in the middle of the trap to sort of give her turret a bit of a shield. So if like a shock trooper tries to run up and punch the turret, it's got that turret, that trap as a buffer.
Yeah.
One fun like defense.
Whoa. I think that guy got hit by a car really hard. Maybe? That's an interesting thing that happened.
Seems okay though.
A thing. You know what? Here, let's do it right now. Sure. I have God mode on, so this is okay. I'm gonna switch to hardtack.
Yeah, this is cool too.
This is the combo I like to do a lot when I have these in the wombo combo. But when there's like somebody really far away, and it's like, or if it's like this guy's in my line of sight here. Once I want to like hit somebody with this trap specifically, not somebody else. Like you can shoot this trap. Well, this guy likes to get right up in your face, though, unfortunately. But you can lay down that trap and then use hardtack to harpoon to just teleport them straight into the trap. Like this. Whoop!
The car exploded.
The car triggered it. Damn you, car. Here, I'll get up somewhere where cars cannot be.
There you go.
Normally. Unless you deem it so. Okay. These people are eager to get in my traps right now.
One kind of cool defensive move you can do as Rama too is if there's a shock trooper who are our big guys who just run up and try to ground pound right in your face.
Yeah.
A defensive move you can do is just put a trap right at your feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if someone tries to get up in your face, they'll be blown back by the trap,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Or you could just freeze somebody and just drop the trap right on them that way too. But yeah, we should.
Rama does well against these tank troopers too because she does extra weak point damage and their weak point is on their back.
Right.
You can spend upgrade points to do extra critical hit damage. So
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I guess before we wrap anything up, we should also take a look at some of her animations here specifically.
Yeah.
I like showing off their taunts and stuff. So
Yeah.
She has some good stuff, yeah.
Great courage in you.
nice little bow, and also.
I don't think we're going to be friends.
Yeah, she was like from the animation side. It took us kind of a while to, go. Okay, how do we like what feels appropriate to her? And honestly, it wasn't until we got a lot of the VO back and hearing it where a lot of her missions there was sort of like an impatient factor in the way that like with her mission and kind of the way she spoke, and it was it started. That started to feed into it, right? So like some of her fidgets were a little bit more like she's, like tapping her foot and like, all right, come on, like there became this urgency to what she was doing, which then also lines up well with her like her objective, right? Is like her goal is to try and cure this plague that's ravaging India. So it sort of all started to come together because for the longest time it was like, all this like subtlety and nuance that we were thinking of. It was like, how do we convey that? And oddly enough, as simplistic a weapon as a bow is, that's the most like technically hard thing for us to be able to animate because you've got this upper body only thing where you have to hold and charge it, and then you've got moving while you don't have it and while you do, and then aiming while you're moving, and how do you get all of this stuff to like line up? So a lot of time was spent on her just getting to move properly, that once it did get to those personality animations, luckily we had all this great VO that we could use to help further inform where we wanted to go with her.
I also really like the, I don't know if we've ever really pointed these out before, but all the agents have some kind of animation for leaving combat mode. And we haven't gotten to the agent that has my favorite one, just because they're like, specifically like supposed to be like the really cool Scheherazade. Really cool.
Yeah.
She's just, all of her animations are super cool because that's what she is. But yeah, I really like this one too. It's just a really simple like done.
Yeah.
Good day.
And those were all we made sure like we were looking up like specific I think it's like mudras is the name of like the different hand signs, because each gesture depending on region and culture and sort of all these different things mean specific things. So I don't remember them now, but both that one and the which she does her wall climb, at the top of her wall climb she also strikes a specific hand pose that was specific to that moment and to that character that we wanted to make sure was appropriate.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. She's been around for a while, like development wise, but she's still one of my favorites to play.
Yeah.
It's just there's something really cool about her that none of the other agents really have. I have a hard time explaining it. I think she looks cool too, just like the materials are really nice.
She fills a very necessary design space too.
Yeah.
Great to have the long range sniper character.
Yeah.
really rounds out a squad.
Yeah, and I if you're going to be shooting in a game, I always feel like you got to snipe at some point, just because
It's too fun.
it's just way too satisfying to do that. Oh right. We should also mention, I guess, that aiming down sights. What exactly gives her precision buff?
It's when she's aiming down sights, and then while she has a fully charged arrow for like 2 seconds or something.
Okay.
Do that. You might already have it.
Yeah, I got one right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, right above the Mayhem gauge in the bottom left, you can see that precision buff. So
Yeah.
that just increases her accuracy all around, right? Is it
Her range.
her range?
Increases
Her range.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she can shoot even farther.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Rama. Is there anything else you guys want to point out before we head on to the bugs?
She has some really cool skin.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
She
She
does.
has some really cool skin.
Yeah, those have actually some of those have been in some of the trailers recently. In fact, the latest trailer that came out,
Yeah.
I believe, has maybe it was a trailer
Are we
before.
allowed to show any?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we got skins we can show. Let me just see if I can remember the command.
Yeah, it's Agent.
Agent. Skin.
Tab.
Cycle on
Yep.
avatar.
There you go.
Yeah. So we got.
So that's her
Get rid of the
bombshell.
Yeah, because
Skin.
there are multiple teams in our game where it's like there are 3 agents that kind of all bullet, like the bombshells. Rama's part of the bombshells, and so each team has like their own skin that they all share.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She looks
the,
good in
the
black.
bombshell. Yeah, the bombshell looks pretty good. Mike is sending us a message. What is he saying?
Don't show them.
Yeah.
No, he
Go
said
for
go
it!"
for it. Yeah, so we'll take a look at the other skins we got here. I like this one a lot too.
It's cool.
I won't say the name of the superhero. The lawyers might come after us or something. Yeah, I like this. This is one of my favorites.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We've got this in one of the trailers I know.
Yeah, when the character artists, they got like that scaling effect to look good, and then they also brought in the mask.
Yeah, the domino mask.
Yeah, it was just like I saw that and I was like, oh, you are so good. Yeah, that's our character artist Stan Lee who just leveled that up.
Yeah. The scales are really rad looking on it.
Yeah.
And we've also got.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet.
namesake.
Yep.
Oh, this animation has not played yet. I remember seeing this one a lot because we were doing tests forever ago for like the looping agent videos that are on our website, and it was like I was like capturing that one a lot.
Yeah, that's one of her fidgets.
Yeah, those are some of her skins there.
She's got some of my favorite ones.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, I just really like the way her long fall.
Yeah.
I just
yeah.
I like this dive a lot.
Yeah.
Oh right, we should probably get in a car too.
Oh yeah.
I like that one a lot too.
It's the yoga pose.
It's a neat pose.
Yeah. That was one of the last ones to come in.
Really?
Yeah, she was using kind of an early on one that we had done, and before we really started to take them in a bunch of different really start to push them, and so it was one of those everyone else's came in and we were like, nope, doesn't work anymore. Got to do a new one to kind of match it up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
a little underpass.
I don't think I've ever been under here.
Really?
It's pretty secret.
Yeah, it's kind of like an out of the way little underpass that you can really easily miss. But I remember I found this a couple months ago when I
fun
got
to drive through.
Yeah.
So I think there's a nice ramp at the end.
Yeah, I remember finding this half a year ago, 8 months ago, or someone was like, "Oh, whoa! I had no idea that was there."
Whoa, environment art.
Yeah. There's a couple other little underpasses like that too that have completely unique things
awesome.
to it like that. That yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's so cool. I love finding new stuff.
Yeah.
Even now.
I know.
Yeah, it's
so much stuff.
It's weird to find new stuff in the game you're working on, but so many people are doing so many things that sometimes you just end up missing something really cool somebody did.
It's just a dense world too. There's a lot of nooks and crannies to it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that is Rama. Anything else we should show off before we move on here?
Bugs.
All right, let's.
Bring us the bugs.
I'll go back to full screen here for a sec while I set up the bugs. We got a couple good ones this time around, including the one you were mentioning.
I was so happy when I found that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I've seen a similar bug to that before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just a. It's like the.
Oh god.
It's a level of detail thing, I think.
Oh, that's just
All right.
disturbing.
Yeah, we're gonna. Oh right, I need to get the. We have some videos too. I should set up here. Yeah, this one's gonna be interesting. This first video that we're gonna bring up in a second. Yeah, once our names roll off.
This reminds me of Beetlejuice. Their eyes coming out.
Jump back over here. You know.
There you go. Nightmare fuel for everybody there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Post on r/no-sleep.
It's. I mean, I see this in games sometimes. If in whatever game you're playing, you're just able to move the camera just right to go into their head or something, or you can just see their eyeballs and teeth floating. But
Well, yeah, this is some like sort of weird sorting thing too, right? Because you can see her arms outstretched, but you see the like cloth and the body behind it.
oh yeah, they're on
So-
my-
Arms are behind her.
Yeah. So there's like just some overall sorting thing that's going on.
Like
there,
her
it
face
looks
is
like, yeah.
probably there. It's just like behind her hood.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
all sorts of fun, wonderful things there.
I can almost like tell like to the date where this is from, just because this was captured using our slew camera, which is you just detach the camera, you can move it around separate from the character, and back during this time. When you detach the camera, the HUD would still be in the world. So if you like look to the left of Rama, that little orange bar and that blue and orange bar, that's the game's HUD floating there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that used to happen.
Wow.
Yeah. What's interesting, like I've just seen randomly from like people who have done like ROM hacks of old games or like mods for like older games to like detach the cameras. Like there are some games where they literally just like float the actual HUD in the game world in front of the camera. Resident Evil 4 does that, I think. They also like they do fake letterboxing for their games sometimes, and those letterboxes are just floating in the camera
in the
too.
world, yeah.
But then we also have some the ragdolls like to. Especially earlier on in game dev, wow, like even the older HUD and everything. Yeah. Our enemies had some really hilarious ways of flopping over dead sometimes.
This one's very dramatic. Like I'm
Kind of looks
dead.
like it's like dismounted from like the parallel bars or something.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was way early because that's even the old Hell Trooper models,
Yep.
and there's no like the shoulders aren't moving up at all, right? So you just have like this solid clavicle and then the arms up through it. And yeah, I think that's when we were probably just using like super old temp ragdoll before it was like, hey, let's actually go in there and set limits. And
I may have a screenshot of it somewhere that I might have to bring in for a future stream, but like maybe a year ago or something, there was a specific way enemies would die, where they would always die like on their back, but their legs were bent so far back, it's like they were just spreading full eagle for you.
Do you remember the tumbleweeds too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, sometimes they'd be like wigging out, and they'd be like they'd be all crunched up in a ball and just like tumbleweed across
the body
across the map and stuff.
So now we have some videos too. This first video is from really early on development when it was just like prototypes and stuff. Because look at this.
Amazing. What's happening?
This was a fine art piece. This is called
Seems like some real modern art shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super early.
Yeah.
And also
Crazy Legs.
I don't see it.
working as intended.
Yeah. It's perfect. How do you walk upstairs? Actually, it's on all right. Like, yeah, IK is a crazy beast, and I mean we use it in a lot of places, right? Because like all the procedural stuff we do is part part of our IK system and things like that. But
IK just seems like really hard to make work right.
yeah,
Like it just
shout
sounds
out.
like I don't know how it's really done because I am not a programmer or anything, but it just seems like a problem that's extremely hard to tackle.
Yeah, it is a dark magic that I don't understand. Shout outs to Rob Ripka, who we had on the animation stream that talked about it, because
Yeah.
You don't know how it's
he's on
done
another
'cause
level.
I'm not a programmer or anything.
Oh no, we're talking again.
Problem it's extremely hard to tackle.
Yeah, it is a dark
We
magic.
got you,
that
Eliza, we're hearing your sound.
we had on the animation stream that
What?
talked about it. We're hearing us through you.
Uh-oh. I was just going to say that I think I look much better naked and orange.
Yeah. There we go.
Here we are.
Yes. So that's God. What's happening?
Is this the one you said?
Yeah. This is what I found. Oh god. So I found out this is a bug where that precision where she gets like the extra range, it'll zoom in the camera a little bit. But I found out that it was stacking on top of each other. So if you did it a lot, the camera would zoom in like more and more and more until you could like zoom way into these PEDs who weren't in like their full draw distance.
Right.
So when PEDs are farther away, they're drawn with less complexity so that you save processing power. Or something, and then so you're able to like take a look into what they really look like when they're far away. So every PED they look normal up front, but if you look at them from a distance, they're just like totally disfigured. And
This
terrifying.
is the from all the times we've streamed our older Saints Row games, specifically Saints Row 3 and 4. I don't know if any of you have seen any of those streams from like a year or so ago. There was a PED model that we could spawn from the dev console called Distant Human, and it was just like one of the generic male models, like to his lowest polygonal form possible, like 100 triangles total or something. And we could map him to the players. We could make him a playable character, but his animations just so he just ran like this all the time. That's what Distant Human is. It's essentially what this is. Just but. You know what?
Awesome.
One more time. I really like the camera shake.
The camera shake adds to it.
It's just like it's just really scary. But yeah, those are some more bugs.
It's a little disturbing to realize that like
Good bugs.
every PED looks like that when they're far away from you. It's like a horror movie. But they put on a disguise when they're like
they're actually
close to you.
horrifying monsters that just pretend to be normal when you're near them. It's like They Live or something, you know? Oh man, just like
It'd be a good horror movie.
They Live game or something where like you put the glasses on like a detective mode like in Batman or something, but it just makes all the NPCs change.
No. It's a VR, so you actually have to put on the VR helmet to see it, and then you have to take it off. Then that's not annoying at all.
Oh man, a They Live game, where it's like on your screen normally, but like putting the glasses on, putting the VR headset on, and like you have to get into like a quick time fight.
Yeah.
Like
you're telling them someone else is gonna make this. Now. Stop.
Damn it!
Ours.
You got copyright on this.
We're giving you gold, people.
This is recorded, so if you make this, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
They Live is a good movie.
Yeah.
And technically we got to it first already because Saints Row 4. You know.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. But yeah, that's some Rama there, how she plays and some of the history behind her and the really interesting stuff that Eliza has to say about dialects that I had no idea about.
It's very cool stuff.
Yeah, I want the highlight video for this just to be nothing but like a dialect.
It'll just
discussion.
be I'll just put the whole thing in. It's like here's like a little piece you should watch anyway. Yeah. But that's Rama. If you want to see more of our agents, all the previous ones we've streamed are already up on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/VolitionTube. These streams usually go up about a week after we broadcast, so like the Wednesday following. If you want to know more about Agents of Mayhem, you can follow our social media accounts. We are at AO1TheGame on Twitter. We're AO1TheGame.com for our website and AO1TheGame on Facebook as well. We stream every Thursday, and we're going to be streaming AOM every week all the way up until launch, which is August 15th. So creeping up. It's happening pretty soon.
Mark your calendars.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Just a little bit more than a month. Holy crap.
I know. It's nuts.
But yeah, we stream every Thursday, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific, 22 GMT, twitch.tv/DSVolition. If you're following us on Twitter, you'll learn all about when we stream if you miss it. And yeah, it's pretty rad showing off all this stuff, and come back next week to see another agent. I'm Josh Stinson. I'm the video editor here at Volition. Today we had
Mike Jungbluth, lead animator.
James Kotzian, a systems designer.
Jeff Bielawski, writer.
And then over Skype we had
Delayed. Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Now I have to turn you back up, but I got so confused.
Oh God, we can still hear us over your thing.
Have people play these games for me in order to ever see any of my work. I get into the technical realm of life, and it's I got so confused.
Oh God.
What's happening?
Wait.
It is this time. See, we told you.
In real time, that happens. So I just have to read your lips.
Okay.
I know the guy on the side of the couch is talking now.
Me?
So sad. All technologically challenged.
I think this is the sign that we should end this stream.
Yeah. We got
All right. Thank
Liza,
you.
thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Liza.
All right.
Bye. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too, thank you.
Bye-bye.
And also, we had Mike Watcher, community developer, moderating the chat. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
And we will see everyone next week. Goodbye.
Bye.